trying to figure it out. Okay, so here's the deal. The title of the talk, I was very excited about this, is basically using the REST API in the wild. So I don't know how many of you are familiar with the WordPress REST API, but
kind of.
It's an initiative from WordPress to create a REST type URL to make content available to an endpoint. So the idea is that eventually you can use WordPress admin to manage content, your blog posts, pages, and you'll see here just like custom content, and then you make it available from a REST style API, and then JavaScript developers can use it, mobile developers can use it, right? So this is my little example of how we used the WordPress REST API. I've been to a lot of talks about the REST API, but unless it's really high-level guys that are doing it for like app companies, it's hard to find an example of a tiny little example of where to use it, right? So here's a nice little encapsulated example of how we use the thing in real life. So this is Education Superhighways. This is our client, really great guys. They're a nonprofit organization. They're helping school districts all across America get high-speed internet, high broadband, right? So along with that is each year they get closer and closer to reaching their goal of getting every school on board. They put out a report, which is the 2016 State of the States report. So basically they're reporting on how these states are doing and how close they're getting. Now there's an entire website from their technology team dedicated to that. But what we do is we just made a little data visualization to a little teaser, right, to get yourself into there. Now I guess there was a talk about D3. Right. So this is a D3 map. This is a data viz. This is one of their nice little D3 things out of the box. It's a map. You feed it JSON data, and you can do all kinds of stuff. At one time we had this set up, and there was a little piece on the side with a little excerpt, governor picture. And then over time, the initiative was to open up much more data, use their Modal ability. So right now this is what, it used to be just like 2 pieces of information we'd send. Now we want to open up a quote, information, link. So there's like 4 or 5, there's like 6, 7 distinct little modules of information here, right? So that's the deal. That was our problem. So the problem was, before, we used to just run, we just used to manually edit a JSON file, right? And this is a formatted JSON file of all the new information, but it used to only be like 3 elements, right? And we'd go in there, manually edit it, but you'll see there's HTML in there, it'd be a nightmare. We'd never be able to edit it, right? And they want their team to edit it, and they want to move faster, be more nimble. So that was a non-starter. We had to drop that whole idea. So this whole map is fed from a JSON file that looked like that with a lot more information. So the solution was to use advanced custom fields and basically make all that available for via the REST API, and that replaces that JSON file. There's a plugin that you can use if you want to do something similar. It's ACF to REST API plugin, and then that allows the REST API to give you the custom fields, right?
So you should have ACF itself, ACF to custom field, and REST API.
Advanced custom fields, REST API is stock, comes with WordPress, and then ACF to REST API plugin.
But in a sense, which version it's integrated into the core of WordPress? I mean REST API.
It is now.
Now, so 4.7. Oh, thank you.
We're on 4.7.4 right now, aren't we? So anyways, so when you edit this page, so what we do, now we're going to make it editable. So you edit the page. This is your general WordPress page. We have a field group. I don't know if you guys are familiar with ACF, but what you can do is you build field groups, and this one we call states map, right? Now it's a thing called a repeater field. So you can build on top of one another. It's multiple rows of content. Right? So in this particular case, we have a repeater field with things like the name, the governor name, the photo, the quotes, left column content, right column content, right? This is what it looks like when you start adding information. So like here's the first record, Arkansas. Right? You got your quote, you got the image, little nodes of information, links, right? And then you can just build on top, one after another, after another. This is a UI nightmare because they used to make it collapsible, but somewhere along the line they dropped that. Or maybe we don't have it set up right. So anyways, they're just stacked on top of one another, right? There's like a little, anyways. So that's the idea. You can keep building them. You can edit this. I've got this one. This allows their team to go in and make changes, change the image, whatever. Right?
Single page application, is that what this is?
It sort of is, yeah. We're putting all the content in here. We didn't worry about custom post types because we're using like 3-4 different maps. So we didn't want to mess around with taxonomies and making custom content fields, managing states as post types. So here we just said, you know what, you can just drop as many records as you want on the page data itself. So that's that. Now, okay, so now it's REST API. Oh man, I'm even slower on this one. So you can see, this gives you an idea of what we used to do, right? So this is JSON. This is the D3. This is how we initiate the map. This is what I told you. We used to just edit the JSON file, right? So here, we just, this is why we're good. So we just commented everything out, left it in there, replaced it with, basically, we're fetching the JSON information, right? So here's the uglified version of it. See the endpoint? This is our stuff. This is the states page, ID 21. This is just all the content that they added.
And to create this theme, you did this as a custom theme?
This isn't so much a custom theme. It's just like a custom piece of work that we put in the theme.
Yeah, so
And then here, it's just, this is just good old-fashioned JavaScript. Get JSON. So this is a request to that endpoint, right? And then we just loop through it, one by one.
Time's up.
And then we basically build an object to replace what used to be a hard-coded, statically added JSON file.
Okay.
So that's how we use the REST API and the wilds.